trying to serve clients around the world was a pain at the beginning because they saw me as someone that is from an Eastern European country. I got questions like, why are you charging so much? You can't afford to live there if you charge less. And those limiting beliefs that others try to, put you down. And at the beginning, it was hard to go past them. But slowly I learned that doesn't matter where you live, how much background you have in something, if you're willing to put the work and the learnings, you'll succeed.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Growth Blog podcast once again. And today I have Gabe with me, and we'll be talking about different things. I'll just let him introduce himself and then we take it right from there. Over to you. Who are you?
Thank you so much for having me, Wilson. It's exciting to be here. In a nutshell, I'm a nomad solopreneur. But what does it mean?
I
I'm
know,
a
right?
digital nomad for the past 5 years. I'm traveling the world while running my business. As a solopreneur, I don't have full-time employees, just contractors that I work with. And I've been doing so from warm locations around the world, currently tapping down my 27 country. And from those, I live in 11, which is quite a roller coaster journey, I would say.
27 countries. How long has it taken you to visit 27 countries? Like, when did this whole nomad lifestyle, where did it start and how long has it taken you?
It started 5 years ago, but of course, I'm counting the countries that I visited before as well.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I haven't left my home country, Romania, until I was 25. Now I am 39. And my first trip, 21-hour bus ride to Greece. First ever going outside my home country. And since then, I was doing just some city breaks. And for the past 5 years, I started actually being a nomad, slow nomad, living 3 to 6 months in one country, depending on visa regulations and stuff. And yeah, I'm chasing the sun ever since, trying to farm more location, running away from the cold in Romania because we have quite a cold winter here.
There has to be something that motivated this nomad lifestyle, right? I want to believe. Are you willing to share? Where did this all start from? Why did you decide to be nomad solopreneur?
I was looking at one of my clients' journey, and he started being a digital nomad around 15 years ago. I even remember now the picture with him with a laptop in his lap working on a beach. The classic digital nomad picture. Of course, I don't advise doing so because you cannot work on a beach on a laptop. The glare from the screen and everything doesn't work. But that picture triggering something in me, and I asked him a lot of questions. And then I meet another person that was a digital nomad, working remotely from all over the world, ask more questions. And back then, I was already working from home for about 6 or 7 years. And I told myself, why I should not work from other places instead from the same four walls that I see every single day? Why don't change environment? At the beginning, I was afraid of the unknown, how that lifestyle will be for me, because every experience is different. And I start slowly working from coffee shops around my city, going to co-working spaces there, and experiencing that vibe of working outside of your own familiar environment. And I enjoy it. I found myself to be more productive because I wasn't distracted by the fridge, by family members, or so on. And I was like, wow, this lifestyle is actually possible. I should do more of this. And I start documenting myself, searching where I should go first, and so on. And after that, I book one-way flight to Asia towards Bali with hops in Dubai and Thailand. And after I arrived in Bali, the plan was to stay for 3 months. Guess what? I ended up staying there around 8 to 9 months. And that was the starting of this journey. And I'm still doing it to this day.
Is it because of the food you stayed for extra months, or what made you stay?
Wasn't the food, well, the food was amazing, but it wasn't the food, was the community that I found there. Because when I
Oh, lovely.
end up there, I attend getaway for entrepreneurs, in which for 3 weeks we spend time together under the same rooftop of the same location. And we did a lot of workshops together, a lot of adventures. We went to explore Bali, we went to different food activities as well. And that environment made me fell in love with that place. And even so, a lot of those that participate to that getaway left Bali after those 3 weeks, or some of them stay 1 week more or something. Only me and another person stay for longer. And I told myself I wanted to do this lifestyle. Why not stay longer in Bali? Because it has everything that I want. It has a nomad community, amazing food, amazing nature. The climate is perfect, and around that period was like 25, 27 degrees, which is not a lot for a tropical climate. And I saw myself staying there until the heat was unbearable, because when the rainy season started, the heat
Okay.
also increased and the humidity and everything. And then I made my move and I walked towards Thailand. And after that, came back to Romania to see my family and friends and left again.
I think a lot of people at this point will be like, you're living the life. Like, wow. Yeah, and very
It,
courageous, I must say, because it's not easy just, yeah, being that nomad solopreneur, right? And we'll get into more of that. Let's talk career transitions. It wasn't always like this. You worked first in companies as a salesperson, as a developer, and then before you transitioned to being a solopreneur. What was that journey like for you, and what made you decide that you wanted to be a solopreneur, start your own thing and just run it yourself?
I found quite fast in my career that I'm almost unemployable. I switched jobs like socks. 1 month in one job, one in another. One of my first job was actually in the wood carving facility, in which I was doing different service type of activities, helping others with like moving one thing from here to there. So all the physical activities that my body couldn't stand, because I'm a quite skinny person, as you guys, if you watch, can see. And after that experience, I told myself, I want to use my mind to make a living, not my hands. And the first job, real job, let's say, even that it's a real job as well, but and quite respectable one, because you know I admire those that do physical job because it's hard work. And one of my first jobs were in a bank. I was selling mortgages for real estate, and without qualification, without anything, was MLM scheme, or how it's called, in which you have to bring people in to sell more. Was like a total nightmare. I didn't like that. And after that, I have multiple sales jobs, as you mentioned, from selling tuxedos inside the shopping mall to doing cold calling, selling from newspaper, vacations, internet data for phone companies, and a bunch of other jobs, until I finally found one that I really enjoy, for a company that was selling ovens for restaurants and so on. And I was doing the selling for the service part of things. And I really enjoyed that because it was kind of tapped in my background of I have a bachelor degree in physics, and I love that, but I felt that something was missing because I was making just 200 US dollars a month, and even for Eastern European standard that's low. And I felt stuck. And then my first thought of switching and changing something in my life came to life. And to roll back a bit the years, when I was back in university, one of my colleagues started a side hustle, building websites, monetizing them through display ads and so on. And he asked me to partner with him. And I was like, man, I have a full-time job, university as well. I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
And of course, it was a bad decision. But I thought about him and I called him. And I won't forget, it was a hot summer day with one of my legs inside a bucket of ice because I have a football accident and my leg was swollen. And I couldn't take a day off from the job in order to be able to get well. And I told myself, this is not the life that I want to live, a life without control over my own body, over my own life, and so on. And of course, I won't say that all jobs are like that, for sure are not. I was in the wrong job, in the wrong time, and so on. But that was the trigger. And after talking to my friend, my former colleague, he said to me, Gabe, I will teach you everything that I know, but you'll have to do the work. And I was like, absolutely. I'm open to that. And he teach me everything he knows. I had some background from my high school in building websites,
Yeah.
but then I start to learn more from him about how to market yourself online, how to build websites that converts, how to create SEO optimized websites, and so on. And I started a small side hustle while at that second to last job. And after a while, I found a better paid job than that one. And I continued to build my side hustle. But it was a tough time because almost 1 year, I was waking up at 3 a.m., work for my business. And at 7 a.m., I was going to my full time job, commuting and everything. Came back in the afternoon, sleep for a bit, continued to work for myself after 12 at midnight, 3 hours of sleep, repeat. And I was doing that for almost 1 year, which literally collapsed me in terms of physical and so on. And
Yeah.
I said to myself, I need to make a decision here. That side hustle started to make more than my full-time job. And that was the triggering moment to quit and go all in on freelancing. Because those websites had, let's say, a time span. Algorithms of Google and other search engines change that affected the revenue, and I have to decide what should I do next. And since I already started building websites, I enjoyed that, and I already invested a lot of money in an agency building my own website that my skills weren't at that level yet. I told myself, wow, this is not just a potential revenue stream that is much more potent than the ad revenue. But in the same time, I wasn't pleased with the way I was served by that agency. So I noticed a gap in the market. And then I realized maybe I should go all in instead of building websites for myself to actually building websites for others and build a business around that. And of course, I learned my way up because I had no idea about how to find clients that pay well. I was still trapped in Romania. Trying to serve clients around the world was a pain at the beginning because they saw me as someone that is from an Eastern European country. When I got questions like, why are you charging so much? You can't afford to live there if you charge less. And those limiting beliefs that others try to, put you down. And at the beginning, it was hard to go past them. But slowly I learned that doesn't matter where you live, how much background you have in something, if you're willing to put the work and the learnings, you'll succeed. And slowly I started learning more, acquiring more skills, using my sales skills that I got from the full-time jobs to be able to sell my services. And in 2016, I actually started building a business and becoming a solopreneur and stopped trading my time for money. That was the bigger transition and the realization that I make, that I can provide an outcome, not just a commodity. Because at the end of the day, a website is a commodity. But I was delivering results for them, and I switched my mindset and what I sell as well. That was a long answer, but that was kind of my
Wow.
journey.
No, and it's a very powerful answer. Just listening to the different phases. One phase where I'll say it was a struggle balancing work and your side hustle to a point where you were not being paid as much as you deserved because of probably your region and all of that, and still pushing through all of that. I think that is just amazing. And in terms of mindsets, because I've also seen people who say things like, oh, I'm from this country, I'm from that country, I'm this, I'm that. And that is why I have to keep, I know I should earn more. I know I provide more value, but nobody's going to pay me that amount because of where I'm from, maybe even the color of your skin or your accent or something. How did you get past that limiting mindset? Because you mentioned it's a limiting mindset, and I agree with you. Because I feel, irrespective of where you come from, value knows no no location if you're valuable. So how did you get past? What did you tell yourself? And how long did it take you to go past that limiting mindset? If you can remember that.
Yeah, I asked for help. That was how I did
Mhm.
it. I couldn't do it myself, but I asked for help with codes. I started learning from an unsung mentor of mine, Chris Do. from the future, started consuming his content. I didn't ask him personally, but I started consuming his content, and he talks a lot about this. He's also an immigrant coming from Vietnam to United States and so on, and I kind of resonate with his journey. And that trigger of going from the person that is trading time for money, for actually delivering a value, delivering an outcome, helping someone go from A to B, and not just delivering a service, that helped me put things into perspective and see myself as someone that can actually overcome all those limiting beliefs. And of course, it took years to overcome that. And sometimes I still have a ceiling until which I feel comfortable to charge others. And there is no silver bullet to say, do this or that. What I found that worked for me, as I mentioned, is looking how others are doing this, how they package themselves, how they sell themselves. Because at the end of the day, you have to sell yourself. And the way you sell yourself is to creating connections rather than telling, I value this, I won't charge less than this. By build a relationship with someone. And when you have a rapport with someone, it's much more easier to tell, all right, in order to be able to help you with that, you'll have to invest this amount, or you'll need to invest this amount. And going through all these steps and trying to learn from others, it's a better way than trying to just sell yourself short and say, all right, this is my price for this service, this is my price for the other. And another tip will be to solve a problem for someone and getting them from that pain point towards the desired dream state. Because there's the secret. If you find someone that is in pain and they need to solve that pain as soon as possible in order to be able to move forward in that dream state, then you have a good service. Otherwise, it's just a commodity. And all this self-taught that I have, all this learning from others and seeing how others are doing it, was the shorter way to actually arrive there. Because otherwise, you're just stuck into trying, and at the end of the day, without having outside feedback, outside support, it's quite hard to overcome those challenges.
So you've talked about consuming other people's content, asking for help, and just sharing, getting feedback from people to help you overcome those limiting mindsets. Let's talk sales now. Sales and getting clients. I know the last time we spoke, you talked about partnership. In fact, I'll say you opened my perspective to what partnerships can do when it comes to getting leads and closing the deal. Right? From your experience as a salesman, let's say there is this entrepreneur who is struggling right now to consistently sell their product. What tips will you give to that person? How should the person start from your experience?
If you're struggling to sell a product, I'll say to that entrepreneur, maybe your product is not attractive enough or is not actually solving a problem, because usually that's the biggest thing. But let's say that's not the case. The product is amazing, but that entrepreneur cannot position himself. And that way, the best way to go, and especially when you start out, is, as you mentioned, partnerships. Because what partnerships can bring to you? If you start right now, no matter the industry, you kind of enter in a crowded marketplace and you have to differentiate yourself. You have to build a name for yourself. And it's quite hard to do that if you don't have an audience, someone to look at what you have to offer. And of course, you'll see random advice like do cold calling, cold emails, go to networking events, all that work to a certain extent, but it will be quite hard to get traction. But if you do partnerships, you can partner with someone that already has your audience, someone that already built trust with their audience, and automatically through association, they can build trust with you. Because imagine if you go and you feature in one of the biggest podcasts in the world, in one of the biggest TV shows in the world, and you go on stage next to Oprah or go on stage next to Stephen Bartlett, people will associate you with them. It's called the halo effect, in which automatically you're associated with that individual. And since they already trust you, trust them, will trust you as well. And that's how partnership works. And for example, if someone is in an industry that, let's give a practical example. Let's say you're in the fitness industry and you help people lose weight. You can partner with a lot of individuals, from those that help in nutrition to others. But one underrated partnership is with a date coach, because someone that helps someone dating others solve a pleasurable problem. The person that helps others lose weight solves a painful problem, because it's quite hard and you need to build that habit. And if you partner, for example, with a nutritionist, that not only solve kind of the same problem, but can actually steal your clients, because they solve, if someone has a good nutrition, they might not be needed to go to the gym. Of course, it's not advisable, but if you partner with dating coach, someone that is in nutrition business or the other one in the weight losing business, they solve different problems, but those two together have the same audience, because someone that wants to go on date, they want to look good as well, physically speaking, and the other way around. If they want to go to lose weight, they probably want as well to be attractive for the opposite sex. And yeah, that's how it goes with partnerships. You need to be a bit creative with the way of thinking about it. Let's say another example, how I started with partnership. I partnered with an SEO agency that was doing SEO and paid ads, but they weren't doing the web design. But in order to be able to do the paid ads, to drive traffic to landing pages, they need landing pages. In order to be able to optimize for SEO websites, they need a good looking website and a functional one, a fast one, an optimized one from a technical point of view. So they need that service, but they weren't provided. So I partner with them, I provide that service, and they provide the others. And I couldn't provide the others, even that I know a bit of those services. That is not my expertise. So that's how we end up working together, and they brought in a lot of clients. So that will be the long answer to how to find clients. The sales is taking care of itself if you have the right audience with the right offer for them.
I like how I really like how you distinguish this thing. The same way I was amazed the first time we talked about this. We're looking for the same clients, but we're offering different services. And then we're just leveraging each other's network and trust that we've built to help each other succeed and sell what we want to sell. That's just fantastic. So you have this A.T.M framework, which is on your page to help people consistently generate revenue. Do you want to tell us about it? How did that come? Is it because of were you thinking of money when you came up with the A.T.M acronym? You came up with it and you just found out that, oh, it fits. It's A.T.M, it's money.
That's like a printing machine if you build it right. A stays from audience, because you cannot start any business if you don't have an audience to target. And T stands from trust, because you need to build trust with that audience. And M comes from monetization. So have an audience, you build trust with it, and then monetize. And there are multiple steps that enters that framework in order to make it work. And building an audience that you can sell to, you need to identify a target audience that has a problem you can solve with your service or coaching or consulting and so on. And you identify that target audience that has that problem and the places where they spend their time, online or offline. And once you narrow down, and you should go quite deep, you don't have to be very broad, because if you are broad, you're talking to everyone, and you're not talking to everyone, you talk to no one. And once you identify that audience, you start go a bit deeper, as I mentioned, and you identify those you can help best. Because if you just provide commodities like I used to do, because I learned this on my own skin, I was just providing websites. But when I identified that I actually provide marketing services to them, I actually generate revenue through them with those websites, I go through all these steps, identify their target audience. And after that, creating offers that build trust, because that's how trust comes from. You actually create offers in order to be able to attract that audience into your world. And here's a common mistake that people make when it comes to offers. They build one single offer that is usually the high ticket one. And imagine, even if you have the perfect ICP, the perfect ideal client persona, you cannot sell to them if that person doesn't trust you. And how you build trust with an offer? You need to give them a taste. You need to give them a sample of that offer. And let's say you solve a big problem. That problem usually it's solved in multiple steps. And you take one of those steps and you solve that small step for them. You build that foundation, and that foundation will build trust with them. And usually this is done in marketing through lead magnet. Let's say it can be an educational course that is free, or an ebook that is free, or some sort of value that solves that small problem from the bigger one that your core offer solves. This can be as well a questionnaire, a scorecard, can be many things. But you need to build that trust first. And when you give them this free value to them, or it can be paid as well, but to be low friction, like very small amount. Because if there is paid, there is a secret as well here. If it's paid, they will commit. And then you know that it's not just a freebie seeker, because there are a lot of people that just download a lot of freebies and stuff. They never consume them and they never become customers. But if you give them something cheap, and cheap, I mean under 100 euros or dollars or pounds, in order to be able to make them commit to the change, because they have to want to have that change in their life, that solve that problem. Then you know they are committed, and then you can solve the bigger problem for them, because they'll build trust, they'll see and understand that you can actually solve the bigger problem for them by solving that smaller one, and then your bigger offer come into place. And of course, here we can expand further, and I usually go with my clients to identify how that core offer, because usually that's something that they do it for their clients or together with them. But this is not very scalable, because you have a limited amount of time in your life and your business, and this is not scalable. And there is a third step in that trust building offers, in which you actually build a product attached to the core offer, something that you can sell while you sleep. This can be an online course, paid of course. This can be some sort of product like a SaaS that is attached to the service. Let's say you have a business that is delivering groceries to the hypermarket, and you build an app that tracks the delivery times or something. It's just a dumb example, but to have an idea. So you build something that's attached to that, and the hypermarket will want to use that app in order to know when is that exactly the delivery is coming and everything. So you want to pair these things together in order to build that scalable offer for them, and actually one that builds trust, solve the problems, and so on. And of course, then comes the monetization. And in the monetization enters ways in which you deliver these offers smoothly to your clients, because you need to lower the friction in order to arrive at the result. Let's say you solve the biggest pain in the world, but if that problem is solved in years, no one will buy it for you. So you have to lower the time to satisfaction, or the time to the dream state, in order to be able to build that monetization system. And the monetization system, it's around the funnels. You build systems in the back end in which you drive your audience through your offers, from a landing page to your lead magnet, to one to build the personal brand, websites, online presence, and so on. And in general, it's great to aim to become a thought leader in the space, in the industry that you want to be in order for people to get to you. And that's why you need basically a website, not only a presence on social media, because you don't have control over those, but over a website you have control, and you put all those pieces together and you showcase your expertise, where you feature blog posts if you have podcasts, and so on. And after that, of course, you try to optimize this, because marketing is experimentation. You optimize these steps in order to arrive at a point where you make small tweaks to have increased conversion, increased revenue, and lower your expenses when it comes to getting leads. Because at the end of the day, you want to get leads as cheap as possible in order to be able to stay profitable and build a sustainable business. And all those things can be continuous optimized, creating more offers, creating more systems to deliver the offer to your clients and make their life easier. So that's the ATM in a nutshell, a big nutshell.
No, but I get the concept, the audience, the trust, and then monetization, right? And like you said, it becomes an ATM if properly implemented, and is that entire cycle of improvement. And some of these things, yeah, you have to experiment as well. You try them, you see what really fits into what you're doing, and then just iterate over and over again till you find your sweet spot. You don't want, like you said, you don't want to be acquiring customers at very expensive. You want it to be as cheap as possible to get your customers and then get the money. Okay, so let's look at the last part of this conversation. I think that was 2 weeks ago or thereabouts. You took some time off work to just refresh, right? I think I saw your post on that. As entrepreneurs, I know one of the challenges entrepreneurs face is how do I keep up? Customers are currently constantly asking, right? Oh, I need this, I need that. And for some entrepreneurs, they feel if they take a break, they might lose a customer during that period, right? So it keeps them in this constant cycle of I need to be present, I need to yeah, so throughout the year, they are working and some of them end up burning out. How did you get to the point where you're confident enough to take a break and just look after yourself and come back and know that your customers will be there waiting for you? How did you get to that point? What are you doing differently?
Waiting lists. I build waiting list. That's one thing. So in my offer system, I build a waiting list because I take
Good.
only a few clients a month. And
Mm,
because of that, all those that come to me after I'm fully booked, I put them on a waiting list and I plan my year in advance to make sure that I can serve everyone and in the same time be able to have breaks and so on. And I might be a solopreneur, but as I mentioned, I have contractors. So
yeah,
I have for various parts in my business, I work with others that's implementing the execution. So I work on the
mm,
strategy, on the consulting, but when it comes to implementation, building websites, landing pages, copywriting, design, I have contractors for that. And that's why and how I'm able to take time off. And as well, of course, I'm trying to be mindful because if you don't recharge, as you mentioned, it's impossible to keep going. And it took a while to arrive at this space. A couple of years back, I end up burnout because I didn't know how to balance all these things, and I worked too much. I overworked myself, and it was as well the period of pandemic where I was sitting inside, not exercising too much, and so on. But yeah, balancing, it's all about how you manage your team, your work, and so on. And
mm,
as I mentioned, even as a solopreneur, as a freelancer, you need to count those breaks inside your pricing as well. For example, if you're executing all the work yourself, you just up your prices. I know it's easier said than done, but if you think about it, every healthy business adding to the pricing everything from
mm,
their travels to the gas if they commute and all the expenses that the business have, they add it into the calculation. Otherwise it's not possible to run a healthy business. And I do all those things. I calculate everything to make sure that I'm allow myself, because of course when I not working actively, the consulting part of the business and as well the strategy side of the business is not moving in the right direction for now, because I plan to fix that as well by teaching the framework
okay.
to others to be able to use the same IP in my name. So that's how I do. Of course, it's not always perfect. I'm still tweaking, I'm
No,
still learning to balance, because especially when I'm moving from country to country, there's a slight period in which I have to do something about it in order to be able to keep myself on track. So it's still a work in progress all the time. But that's the entrepreneurial life. You need to adapt, you need to
no.
move slowly in order to survive.
Thank you so much for for sharing this. Yeah, so having or planning very well. I like the fact you said you plan at least as much as possible. I know some things can jump in here and there, but having a tentative plan that you can work with, factoring that into your pricing system, and leveraging other people, contractors, more or less delegating and paying for that service to get things up and running. Thank you, thank you. We've gone way beyond our time. I guess we you forget the time when you're enjoying the discussion. Yeah. So finally. What are the projects you're working on? I know you have a podcast. How can they reach you?
First of all, thank you so much, Wilson, for having me. It was an absolute pleasure to be here. And yes, for those listening or watching, if they want to get in touch, I'm quite active on LinkedIn at Gabe Marusca, or you can find me as well on my podcast, The Nomad Solopreneur Show, and my website, digitalfinest.com. Happy to answer any questions. Feel free to get in touch.
All right. Thank you once again. It was a privilege having you here, and we look forward to your next adventure. So probably when you go to another place, I'll look forward to what country you are, and probably do a shout out. So thank you once again, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks to all our listeners. Remember to subscribe and look out for the next episode as well. Take care for now. Bye.